Thank you, Donna, and thank you all for the opportunity to come speak with you today. I was actually stunned to get the invitation because I'm a politics professor and I'm a pastor. I lead a lonely life. Nobody wants to hang with me, and so anytime I get an invitation, I'm there. I don't usually get asked back because I'm the most depressing speaker that comes to any conference, so I will take just a few minutes to depress and also share the hope that is within me. I think the conference today, you've done a terrific job. People, you all here know the reality is that you can access anything you want on this little iPhone, and the point is, even if you deny your kid this, if they go over to somebody's house that has it, it's just everywhere. I want you to know that I love my country. I want you to know that I am grateful for the men and women who have sacrificed themselves to give us the freedom that we enjoy. It's also my belief that if you're a true patriot, you have to be able to be a critic. And I'm going to come for the next few minutes and speak critically so that we can get some perspective politically. Because I think while you all may not be naive, I think for a whole, the Christian Church in the United States is enormously politically naive, and it will ultimately not help the cause. St. Augustine said that a country is defined by what we love. Whatever it is that we love unites us. The higher the object of love, the more stable, the more just the society is. The more perverse the object of love, the less stable, the less just the society is. Alexis de Tocqueville taught us that in order for democracy to exist, you had to have enough people that did the right thing when nobody was watching. Edmund Burke said, the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for a good man to do nothing. In order for democracy to exist, we have to be able to talk to each other. We have to be able to talk about good. We have to talk about the meaning of the word good. You can't have enough people doing the right thing when nobody's watching if there's no consensus about what right is. Brothers and sisters, I think the Christian church, the analogy that we should draw about the times in which we are living is Rome. And as a social scientist, I'm here before you to say that I am not optimistic that the United States will survive this. And I think we need to take that question very seriously. I believe we now live in a place called the I world. We are no longer united by our love of God. We are no longer united by our love of the flag. I don't believe we're united by our love of an idea. I believe that what unites us in the United States is that we are in love with ourselves. That we are a nation of people, and present company accepted, but we are a nation of people that are obsessed with the self. We are so obsessed with the self that we care not for the past, we care not for the future. We only care about the present. There would be no other way to explain the way in which we live without thinking that way. In order for a democracy to exist, we have to be able to relate to each other. We live in a country in which we are losing not just marriage, we're losing relational hope. When you're talking about 45% of children are born in America outside of family, 78% of black American children are born outside of family, you are talking about a social phenomenon that goes far deeper than the hope of marriage. We're living in a world that is losing touch with hope of relationship at all. And we can't exist as a democracy without it. So you can see why I never get asked back. Now, I don't know that I actually have to prove this to you, but I think I'll just do one little thing, because I did a PowerPoint and I never do a PowerPoint. Just consider what a rational, relational, democratic country would do if we were sane and if we had a future. Our U.S. budget deficit is $1.1 trillion. Now you're asking yourself, well, what does this have to do with pornography and mobile porn? I'm actually going to get to that. Our projected deficit is 1.5 trillion right now. We're at 870 in this fiscal year so far. And our estimate for next year, with all of our cost cutting, will be 1.1 trillion. Now, it's kind of hard. What is a trillion? How do you get your head wrapped around what this means? 1 million seconds is 12 days. 1 billion seconds is 31 years. 1 trillion seconds is 31,000 years. If we were a people that were concerned about our children, that were concerned about the future, we would not be in this present situation. Our current national debt is 14.2 trillion. Our unfunded liabilities are 113 trillion. You probably want to cut this out of the video from the conference after. And then credit card debt. It's not just the government. For every man, woman, and child in the United States, we owe $7,800 per person. Mortgage debt of 14.4 trillion. 1 million home foreclosures last year. 1.2 million foreclosures the previous year. I'm going to just lay that up here to say that Portugal, Spain, Ireland, all in default. Every other country on that chart, not far away. If the UK was on the euro, they would be in default right now. So, what does all this have to do with pornography? Porn use by our youth is a greater threat to our national well-being than the economy. I don't believe that economically we will be able to, I don't believe we economically have the will to be responsible, but I hope I'm wrong. But I have to tell you, what we've learned today, the inescapable conclusion is simply this. If you get connected with porn and early in your life, it alters your ability to relate. It alters your ability to be good. It alters your ability to understand how to live in this world of ours. We are living in a world in which we are giving our children a greater problem than the debt we are saddling them with. We are giving them a vision of what it is to be human that is perverse and completely unsustainable. Now, why do I throw all of this out? I throw it out for this reason. I've come to the conclusion that everybody I went to seminary with signed up to be pastor in a country that was predominantly Christian. And my sense is that when I go around the United States and speak, and I hardly get to say that, I never get invited, because who wants to hear this? No, I'm leaving tomorrow for Cambridge, England, because they know this is a problem, not because of any religious reasons. The social cost of this is so profound, Britain can't afford it. I'm going to Australia in May for the same reason. The Australian government, farther advanced down the road, no, they can't afford it. I'm going to Hong Kong in May because the Chinese don't want it. The Americans, however, we are in denial. Our churches are in denial, and our parents are in denial. Christian Smith, Mark Regernus, two of the best sociologists in the United States who are Christian. Their most recent studies tell us that if we don't get to our children by the time they are in 4th grade, they will be lost to us on the sexuality issue. In Manchester, New Hampshire, we are dealing with 6th grade pregnancy. In Manchester, New Hampshire, we are dealing with 3rd graders who are pretending to have anal sex in classroom with other 3rd graders. Okay. We live at a time in which things are bizarre. It is not the purpose of the Christian church to be relevant to this culture. It's not the purpose of this organization to be relevant to this culture. This is a moment in which, in order to succeed, it has to be countercultural. And we have to become very smart about what it means to be countercultural. To get ahead of the curve is to recognize this won't work. The good news is this I world of ours won't work. The good news is that this will come crumbling down. And the good news is, speaking as a Christian now, the good news is that we know how the story ends. The good news is that we are called to be salt and light no matter where we live in the world, no matter what happens around us, and people will be drawn to the light. So we are called to be faithful, not successful. But I believe the challenge is simply this. If every one of us in this room are saying to ourselves, how am I going to save America? I think it will paralyze us. I think the question is, how can I be salt and light in this world so that when everything crumbles around us, people are going to be drawn to light? They will be drawn to what we have here because it is true. They will come to see that this other thing doesn't work like they have in England, Australia, etc. Brothers and sisters, I ask you to join me in a countercultural movement in which we are smart and we get ahead of the curve. And the good news is, we know how the story ends. So I am very hopeful.